trending, right? Everyone is thinking about AI, how artificial intelligence can help in different domain. And knowing that it might help in research is quite very interesting, right? So I want to tell you, first of all, that I come across, ChatGPT basically because I've been using ChatGPT more, out of some sort of a curiosity, right? So it started with like just a reflection about how can AI really help? Can AI really be helping us, me and my colleague, who were doing some sort of a research? Can it really help us managing and guiding students, right? The freshman student, the student that don't speak English very well, the one that needs advising, can it really help them? And my question was, is it really helping them also managing their anxiety? So we started like that. We started with that kind of questions, and we wrote a research actually that showed that ChatGPT is not only helping students increasing their English proficiency, but it is also helping them managing their anxiety when it comes to exam, right? So this is one of the research that we've published. And starting from that point, my interests get growing more and more and more about research. And I wanted to know more about how AI can help us, right? So I'll just share with you my screen. And I'll take you through my journey with research in AI. And I hope that it would make sense for you, that I hope that it would resonate in some of you and that it would help you. This is the most important thing. So let me start by, first of all, just share with you that question that we ask ourselves all the time, okay? So I know as I'm working in a university, I need to produce research, right? I need to produce articles. But the problem most of the time is, how do I start, right? What should I do in order to produce a research paper? Some of us are already very much happy to do the process. We know how it works. So probably this, the few first steps that I will be discussing with you won't be that important for them. But I think that in order for us to produce a quality journal paper, it has to fulfill all the different steps. And I'm going to share with you all these steps together so that we're sure 100% that at the end of the journey, we are producing something that is really valuable. So my question, first of all, is how do we produce a good article? And in order to do that, I need to suggest a research proposal or a research plan, right? So I asked ChatGPT. So this is all the work that I'm doing here was done with ChatGPT, and it's the 3.5 version, right? So you can also use the 4.0 version, 0.0 version that is that you have to pay for, but you can use the 3.5 because all what I've done here, what I'm gonna share with you, is done through the 3.5 that is absolutely accessible for everyone. So my question was, I just throw it in ChatGPT. How do I write a research proposal or a plan, right? And then ChatGPT was very generous and it gave me all these different informations. So it tells me that I need to have an introduction, research problem or research questions, objective and hypothesis, literature review. And as you can see, every time it gives you a small description about what it really needs, right? Then it talks about methodology, data collection, data analysis, expected result. But it doesn't only stick to that. It also tells you the importance of sticking to timeline, budget, if there is any budget, references that should be there, appendices, conclusion, proofreading and editing, and finally seeking feedback before going to the publication. Right? So it helps me somehow having some sort of a to-do list or some sort of a checklist, right, about all the different aspects that I need to cover in order for me to have a very interesting and a very, let's say, valuable article to write, right? So these are the different questions that we will have to explore and go through this presentation together in order for us to fulfill that research plan, in order for us to, at the end of the day, be ready to write our article. So in every way of our journey, we are going to ask ChatGPT different questions, and ChatGPT will be able to help us. I will show you how it will assist you answering all these questions. How do I find an interesting topic? How do I write hypothesis and research question? How do I conduct a literature review? What research method and design should I use? What ethical considerations should I be aware of? Data collection method, what are qualitative versus quantitative analysis? Can I create a survey? Where can I find participants? What are the different type of sampling? How can I effectively manage my time? And finally, where can I publish my research? So I'll show you how in my journey with ChatGPT, how actually it helped me answering those questions. So let's start with how to choose a research topic. So of course, I've used some specific prompt that I'm sharing with you here. Feel free to take note of these prompts and use them yourselves. Or what you can do also is just to explore, right? Because there is no one right prompt or one right recipe. What I encourage you to do is to just keep digging and checking and be curious and play with ChatGPT as much as you can. Of course, you can get inspired by the prompt that I've used, but you can expand it and you can use something different if you feel like to. So my first question was, what are the trending topics in clinical psychology? So as you can see, clinical psychology is highlighted in green because this is my area of expertise. So every one of you can use the beginning of the sentence, what are the trending topic in, and then you put whatever specialization you're working in, and it will function also. So as you can see here, ChatGPT gave me also a lot of information, telepsychology and online counseling or online therapy, cultural competence and diversity, trauma-informed care, mindfulness and acceptance-based therapies, neurodiversity and autism spectrum disorder, resilience and positive psychology. That's not all. It gave you also integrated and collaborative care, substance use disorder and dual diagnosis, technology and mental health. We are also talking about ecotherapy, environmental psychology, gender and sexuality diversity, ethical consideration in treatment, etc., etc. So of course you can ask ChatGPT as much possible topic as possible. So if within those 12 topics you find something that is really interesting for you, just you can keep it and then use it for the next steps. But if you're not really satisfied and you want to keep digging, then you can ask ChatGPT, can you suggest more? And ChatGPT will keep suggesting, right? So it will never replace you or replace the way you think or the way you perceive situations around you. It just helps you to brainstorm. Okay, so that's the first step. Now, here, there is something else that we all the time ask ourselves. Whenever I need to come up with an original topic, I need to look at the literature gap. Okay, what are the gaps in the literature? I want to know what are the most important part over here, something that researchers couldn't cover or something that they were asking a lot of questions about. So how can I cover this, right? So also ChatGPT can help you covering that. So this is why I asked him. Act as a critical researcher, and this is very important. This specific sentence here is very important, right? This is the prompt that will help ChatGPT orienting his research into the right directions for you. So I was very specific this time. I was like, act as a critical researcher and give me the gaps in research articles about nomophobia. So nomophobia, again, is green. It's a very specific concept in psychology. So again, I'm narrowing down, as you can see, the area of my research in order for me to have the maximum good answer or the answer that I'm expecting. So, and indeed, ChatGPT here is giving me a lot of information. It's talking about the and availability of longitudinal research or longitudinal study when it comes to that specific concept, measurement consistency with different studies use various scales and measure to assess nomophobia, and that might lead to inconsistency. So probably defining or designing some sort of a scale would be more interesting here. What are the psychological mechanisms behind it, the impact on daily life, interventions and treatment. It tells me also that in terms of technological evolution, research need to keep pace with these changes and how it's impacting nomophobia, how the technology is impacting that specific issue or that specific concept. What about cultural and societal factor? And then it suggests qualitative research. What if there is a gender difference, the contextual factor, technological solution, etc., etc. So as you can see, it gives you, again, different gaps in literature, and it tells you this is what you can look at. So it narrows down more and more the scope of your research, and it gives you a clear idea about what you want to have a look at, what you want to do a research about. Yeah. Now, once it's done, what do I need to do now? So we covered how do I find an interesting topic? That part was covered, done. Now I find a research and I find an interesting topic and I'm really keen to start working on it. Now, the second issue or the second step that I need to focus on is how do I write hypothesis and research question? In order to do that, I'll ask again ChatGPT. Based on this, so as you can see here, when I say based on this, it implies that what I'm doing now with ChatGPT, I'm having a conversation with it, right? So that's very important once you start doing this type of questions or this type of work to not interrupt your work. Just dedicate 1 hour and ask all the questions on one go, because it will look like some sort of a conversation and the AI will be able to follow actually the pace of your thinking. And it will be able to answer you according to what you've chosen. Yeah. So I asked, based on this, can you suggest some original and applicable hypothesis? I mean, 2 keywords, very important. It should be original, should be creative, should be something that wasn't done by many people, and something that would bring some sort of a importance and some sort of add value to the table, right? And at the same time, very important, it should be applicable, because if it's something that is very original but not yet possible to apply or to measure, then it's not possible for me to do that research, right? So, and I said also based on this, so you have 2 questions. Can you provide with some original and applicable hypothesis? Or you can say, based on this, can you suggest some original research questions? So that's a bit more open. And then it depends whether you want to come up with clear hypothesis or you want to come up with a research question. In both cases, such ChatGPT is really helping. So as you can see, there is here it suggests different hypotheses, such as young adult 18 to 25 experience higher level of nomophobia compared to older adults. And we understand the reason behind it, right? Because nomophobia is no mobile phobia. So people that have been exposed to mobile phone at a very early stage would be probably a bit more anxious when they're separated from it compared to adults that were not really very close to it, right? We have some other hypotheses here. Nomophobia negatively impact academic performance among college students. Interventions focused on mindfulness and self-regulation can reduce nomophobia symptom over time. And you still have here plenty of other hypotheses. Again, if you hit on a hypothesis that really make you happy, just take it and start working with it. But if you're not satisfied, you can still ask ChatGPT to give you some more ideas and some more hypotheses. Now, for the research question, as you can see, there are also many research questions. Does nomophobia significantly predict distracted driving behavior, particularly among young drivers? And what are the associated risk factors? What is the impact of mobile phone addiction prevention apps on reducing the severity of nomophobia symptom? And do certain type of app prove more effective than others? And still going on, right? So the second part that was about how do I write hypothesis and research question, I think also was covered by the help of AI. We have plenty of idea, and I think at that stage we come out with something that would make sense for us. And our research is now trying a bit it's getting a little bit more clear, right? So I know what I want to do. I know what gaps are there. I know what is my hypothesis. So what is the third part now? The next step is the literature review, of course. I'm sure all of you are fully aware about how to conduct a literature review. You know, we go to articles, we read plenty of articles, we try to extract information from there, results from there, and we try to somehow construct our literature review, right? So can ChatGPT help us or help facilitating that step? So this is the question that I asked myself. And I asked ChatGPT too. Provide me with a literature review outline for this research question or hypothesis, right? So my research here hypothesis is mental health professionals who actively seek feedback and engage in self-reflection regarding their cultural competence would demonstrate improved therapeutic alliance and rapport with clients from diverse backgrounds. Again, this is my hypothesis related to psychology. So you can use whatever hypothesis is most suitable for you. So when I ask for outline, indeed, ChatGPT provide me with a great outline, right? So an introduction, briefly introduce the topic, highlight the significance of a strong therapeutic alliance, introduce the research focus, exploring the relationship between cultural competence and therapeutic alliance. Then it tells you how the conceptual framework should look like, define and explain cultural competence, therapeutic alliance, present theoretical basis of how cultural competence can impact therapeutic alliance, then the importance of cultural competence, therapeutic alliance and its dimension, factor contributing to successful alliance, challenges and barriers. Of course, there is plenty of information over here. You're not supposed to take all of it, but it gives you an idea about the most important aspect that you will have to touch base on, right? Then you will choose whatever you would like to. Future direction, conclusion, and reference, okay? So now these outline are very interesting, but I want ChatGPT to be a bit more specific, right? That's too much for me. I want something really specific. So I'm getting a little bit greedy here. So I'm asking ChatGPT, can you suggest 10 references related to this hypothesis? And I'm writing down my hypothesis. The use of mobile applications designed to limit screen time and mobile device usage is effective in reducing nomophobia symptom. So instead of me keep on looking on all over the websites and the internet and looking for articles and spending, I mean, hours and hours and hours and probably going across many that would deceive me, I want to find any information in it. So I would like ChatGPT to help me coming with 10 references that would be, according to me, reliable, right? So is that possible or not? So ChatGPT is answering, I apologize for any inconvenience, but I cannot provide you with specific references or access to real-time database to find articles. However, I can suggest some general references format that you can search for in academic database like PubMed, Google Scholar, or your institutional library. So yeah, basically ChatGPT is not that helpful when it comes to that point. So as you can see here, even the different references that it gives you, because it gives me references, but even these are not of end users, right? So as you can see, there are some names, but we're not even sure that these author names are correct. The year is not mentioned. The journal sometimes is mentioned, sometimes not. We're not even sure that this journal really exists. And I think this is what we've heard probably about the hallucinations of ChatGPT, that sometimes it creates things, right? So I cannot fully trust it. But even if these references are not trusted, I cannot copy paste them and put them as it is in my article, or I cannot just put them on the internet and find the specific article. It helps me, however, into playing the role of keywords, right? So whenever, for example, I put these specific fake article on Google Scholar, it brings on different articles that are related to this specific topic and that on that time are really existing. And these are true articles and these are really beneficial articles. Something else that we can use, since ChatGPT is not really of any help, I think we can use Elicit. I don't know if you've heard about it. Elicit is also another AI that is very interesting. And it helps you actually it helps you summing up the top 4 paper about whatever topic or whatever hypothesis you would like to have some information about, right? So as you can see here, I just get into Elicit. You need to go to Google, you need to get into the website, and you can ask it directly. I would like to have, for example, this is my hypothesis, and I would like to have some articles talking about it, and then it gives you that specific here paragraph. As you can see, there are 4 articles, but it's sum up, right? But also it helps me when I look at this summary, it feels like, oh, okay, this research is interesting for me. So then I'll go and look for it and search for it on the internet, and I'll read it fully, and I'll have probably a better information about what is inside it, right? So it helps me, again, narrowing down and also managing my time in terms of research. As you can see also here, Elicit can show you article by article, for example, whether there is a positive and significant correlation between nomophobia and poor sleep in college student. Self-efficacy can positively and directly increase the relationship between quality of life. So it gives you the article and it gives you the main result of the article. So you can look at the main result, and then if that is interesting for you, then you'll go to the article, then you read it, and then you can add it to your references if that is interesting for you. So at that stage, what did we do? We find interesting topic, we find a hypothesis, we don't know how to manage to write our literature review, everything is in place. So what should we do? I think now we should look at research method and design. What kind of research method and design we should use according to the hypothesis that we have used or we have chosen, right? So choose and explain in details the appropriate research method for the hypothesis, and then you put it into parentheses. You put here your hypothesis, the one that you have chosen, right? For me, there is a positive relationship between nomophobia and self-reported sleep disturbances, with individual experiencing more severe nomophobia reporting poor sleep quality. So how ChatGPT will help me? It is actually helping. So it suggests, first of all, cross-sectional approach. So it also explained what is a cross-sectional approach, the nature of the hypothesis, what the data collection look like, sample selection, how you should go through the sample, what are the variables. It tells you a bit about the data analysis. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it talks about person correlation coefficient. So it talks about the correlation that should be probably we should engage on. It talks about control variables. Every time we need to look at the biases that we need to control in every research. So again, ChatGPT helps you understanding what are these variables. It talks also about the ethical consideration that sometimes we're not really fully aware of. It gives you an idea about the limitation and validity and reliability. So as you can see, it gives you a full picture about the best approach and how you can conduct it, right? And all the different aspects of it. So you can just take your time and read it. If that makes sense for you, if you feel like you're comfortable with that specific research design, then go with it. Then if not, you can still dig, right? So there are different type of research methodology, we know that. So we can still ask ChatGPT. So I asked him, can you suggest another type of research method for this hypothesis, right? So I want him to give me more because I'm not fully convinced with the first design that he gave me. And then here ChatGPT gave me a longitudinal study. Again, it gives you all the different details about it, right? And then again, you think about it, whether you like it, you don't like it. If you like it, you can use it. If you don't like it, you can still ask again and again and again. Okay. Now we know what research method we should use. We know all the different details about this research design. Now we need to focus on ethical consideration, right? I know that in the research method, it gives you a short, let's say, description about ethical consideration, but we know in order for us to conduct reliable scientific research and to be able to publish it in a reputable journal, we need to focus on that ethical part since it's a very important one, especially that probably most of our research focus on human or imply humans in the sampling or animals, so we need to take care of whatever is related to ethical consideration. And sometimes I know that we have in mind most of the important aspect, but sometimes some aspect could we could just forget some of those, right? So again, I asked ChatGPT, what are the ethical considerations that I need to be aware of regarding my research hypothesis? And I wrote my research hypothesis. So that's very important to write your research hypothesis, because if we talk about ethical consideration in general, it won't be really tailored to the article or to the research you're engaging yourself into, right? So it had to be something really tailored to it. So the more precise you are, the better the answer of ChatGPT or of the AI will be. So ChatGPT is telling me you need, of course, an informed consent, confidentiality. There is some sort of a cultural sensitivity here. Equitable participation is important. I should make sure to avoid harm and consider potential psychological and emotional risk for the participant. Beneficence, also I need to ensure that there is a beneficence for the participant. I should also consider probably that I should have a debriefing after the participation to the participant, whether they want to have an idea about what's going on, the purpose of the study, finding, they might want to have more information. I need to try to avoid bias as much as I can. Conflict of interest should be also avoided. Professional competence should be there. Approval from ethic review board. So it reminds you that it's very important that an ethical review board should have a look at your design, at your research proposal, and make sure that everything is in place. There should be a transparent reporting, and the dissemination of the findings should be taken care of in a very specific way, right? So it gives you a lot of information that are very, very interesting. And sometimes you might miss some of them. Sometimes you might not pay attention to one of the other aspects. But when it's written in that way, it makes sure that your approach to ethical consideration is really, really comprehensive, right? Then we reach to that specific aspect of every research, which is the informed consent that we have to write every time. And we need to make sure that the participants are signing it, they understand what they're engaging themselves into. And it is some sort of a contract that is protecting the participant and is protecting us from the other side. So most of the time, like, oh, informed consent, I need a sample, and anyone has a sample. How do I write an informed consent? What are the most important aspect or important point that I need to mention in my informed consent? So again, ChatGPT can really be very helpful with that. So I asked him, write an informed consent related to the following hypothesis. Again, it's really related and tailored to my research topic. I'm not asking for a sample that is very general. I really want it to be related to my topic. And here it is. It's almost ready. You just need to go through it, read it, edit some part if you're not happy with some of the parts, add something, remove something if you feel like doing it. But I mean, most of the important aspects are really, really written in there. So it comes with an introduction. So you can see title of the study, researcher name, affiliation, contact information, all the different points that has to be there in the informed consent at the beginning. Then it already wrote an introduction for you, the study purpose, and then it gives you an idea about the risk and the benefit and what the participant should do. It gives you an idea about the confidentiality. It tells you actually that it's confidential, and there is a voluntary participation, so they're not at all obliged to participate. They might they might leave the experiment at any moment if they don't feel like continuing. So nothing is really mandatory. And it gives them some sort of a contact information and consent, and then the participant name and the date. So as you can see, our consent form is ready, and within like not more than 1 minute, right? Everything is ready, everything is written, and everything is very, very much simplified in order for you to really engage and start your research. So we've been through the ethical consideration. We're cool, we're good. We know that we are protected, that our participants are protected. Now, what should we think about? So one other aspect of the research proposal or the research plan that sometimes make things a bit difficult or complicated is data collection method. Okay, so let's talk a bit about that. So my question to ChatGPT was, explain what are the data collection methods in general, and choose the most appropriate one for the following hypothesis, right? Because I want to know, what is data collection method? What do we mean by that? Just give me, a big idea about it, and then just choose, right? And in it, so that I might be much more guided by ChatGPT. So as you can see, it talks about the different method, survey, questionnaire. And then what is really nice here is that it gives you a description about the survey and the questionnaire, and it talks about the suitability, right? So when this specific data collection method is suitable, right? To what kind of research design, right? So there is interview, observation, existing database and record, experimental method, ecological momentary assessment, and here at the end, it gives you the most appropriate method for your hypothesis as you've asked. And here it tells me that I should use survey or questionnaire, that it allows to collect self-reported data efficiently from a large and diverse sample. You can include established scales for measuring both nomophobia and sleep disturbance. So as you can see, it's really, really helping, and it works as a research assistant, right? So it thinks with you and it helps you, it's guiding you towards the best option ever. Of course, it will never replace you. It will never, take your role, or it will never oblige you to go in a way more than another, because at the end, it's your research, it's your decision, it's again an assistant research. So that is done. Now we know what is data collection method. We know what is the right tool that we have to use. Now we want to know a bit more about qualitative versus quantitative analysis. Let's imagine that I've never been into this or that. Let's imagine that I'm a new person into it. Or let's imagine that, for example, I've been through quantitative analysis long time ago, but I didn't work on it lately. So I somehow forgot. Or I'm so much focused on quantitative, I never really did qualitative, but I'm interested into exploring what is qualitative. So can ChatGPT help me refreshing my memory or getting a bit of knowledge more about it? This is what we're going to look at it right now. So I asked ChatGPT and I'll prompt it in a very specific way. Act as a research methodology professor. This sentence, again, is very important because it will really help the AI to embody some sort of a role. And because of that, it will be able to give you very specific and very scientific responses. So act as a research methodology professor and introduce me to quantitative and qualitative analysis. And here you are. So it tells you what is quantitative analysis, the data collection, data analysis, objectivity, generalizability, close-ended question. And then it talks about qualitative analysis, same thing. It tells you everything about it and it makes it clear for you, okay? And when it comes to choosing between quantitative and qualitative, it also tells you how do you make that choice. Okay, that's clear for me, but I need some examples because it's still very theoretical, okay? So I want to know more about it. So I'll ask ChatGPT to give me an example. And I'll tell him, can you give me some examples of quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis? And of course, it will execute, and then it will give you a lot of information here. Quantitative analysis example, survey on customer satisfaction, educational assessment, stock market analysis, traffic flow study. And in every single situation, it gives you a small description so that you understand what do we mean by the quantitative analysis. And it would do the same for qualitative. As you can see here, in-depth interview with cancer patient, content analysis of news article, case study of a startup company, etc., etc. And again, as I said, always accompanied with some description. So I think as of now, I have a good idea about qualitative versus quantitative analysis. I kind of know what I want to go, I want to go for a qualitative or quantitative analysis, and what is that about, right? Now, I choose to go for a quantitative analysis because if you remember, ChatGPT suggested me to go for a survey questionnaire. So I went through some of the tools that was existing on the Google, but I wasn't really satisfied. So I would like to create my own survey, right? So can I do that? How do I create a survey? And I want to do that quickly. I don't want to waste time. I want to come with something that would make sense for me. So I'll ask ChatGPT, can you create a survey measuring nomophobia levels following a Likert scale from strongly agree to strongly disagree, inspired from NMPQ? So NMPQ is a specific questionnaire that is measuring nomophobia. I had a look at it, didn't really like it, wasn't really what I wanted. So I wanted to create my own survey, but I want it to be very, very close to the NMPQ, right? Because I don't want it to be completely obsolete. I don't want it to be, of course, here there is the question of the reliability and the validity of the test that we need to go through. So I wanted to be as scientific as possible. So this is why I asked ChatGPT to get inspired from that specific test. And here we are. You have your checklist. So it's I have a lot of questions. You can ask as many questions as you want. You can even mention the number of questions that you would like to have in that test. And then, of course, you can compare with whatever questionnaire already existing and whatever survey you're creating. And you might see at the end whether you're satisfied or not. So yes, I create my survey, everything's fine. Now, the second question is, where can I find participants? I think all of us struggle with that part, right? When we have to wait months and months for our snowballing effect to give some results, for some people to start throwing some answers. I know that nowadays when you go to SurveyMonkey or Google Form or whatever, there is an option where you can pay some money and the survey itself will be sent to the exact number of people that you've chosen. But I want to go a bit traditional, and it depends. I want to look where I can find my participants. So I just asked ChatGPT if it can help me with that. So my question was, can you give me some example of institutions in United Arab Emirates here in UAE that can be used as a source for data collection for the following hypothesis? And I just added my hypothesis, right? I want to know what kind of institution I can approach, because at the end of the day, when you're writing an article, it's very important for you to give it a value, right? And how your article would have a value when it is engaged with some institution, when it makes sense for some institution, when it's possible for them to take advantage of whatever, let's say, aspect you've discovered, and they can use it, right? So it's very important to know what are the different institutions that would be interested, so that you can approach them, you can talk about the subject with them, you can probably got a budget from them, and you can get engaged in a more, let's say, practical, hands-on based experiment, right? So ChatGPT told me, yeah, you can look in, for example, academic institution, community organization, online research panel, social media advertising, academic journal and database, health clinic or sleep centers, because remember, it's about nomophobia and sleep, research collaboration, look for different institutions, etc., etc. So I'm like, okay, that's a bit vague for me. Like, it's very general. I want clear example. I want you to give me name of institutions or places that I can go to, right? So I wanted to be more specific, and I asked him, can you give me precise examples? Here, it gave me some precise example. For example, I can reach out to Zayed University, Sheikh Khalifa Medical City, Rashid Hospital, Al Jalila Foundation, UAE Online Community on Reddit and Facebook, Dubai Police Academy could be also interested, and it even explain how it might be interested by your research. Dubai Silicon Oasis Authority, Dubai Scare, Dubai Internet City, etc., etc. So again, it narrow it for you as much as possible. Then I'm like, okay, can you give me some specific suggestion? I mean, as I told you, I'm asking too much from ChatGPT. I'm relying to it too much now, but I really like the kind of a conversation and the kind of a flow that we're having together, and that kind of information that it gives me back, right? So I said, can you suggest some association that might participate to this topic? I would like to see if anyone would like to join in. And unfortunately, in that case, I think I hit the limit of ChatGPT, and it started to hallucinate, basically. So it gave me different associations over here. So the first one, Emirates Psychological Association, UAE Sleep Society, UAE Mental Health Foundation, all of these are obsolete. Complete hallucination doesn't exist at all. However, we have the TDRA, it is in there. International Association for Mobile Learning is in there. International Sleep Product Association is there. It's existing. I've been checking every single suggestions over here. UAE Medical Association, that's still very large. It's not really specific. And Consumer Technology Association, again, it's large and it's not really specific. Sorry? Someone ask a question? Okay.
Please carry on. There was some error.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, so as I could, if you can see, I mean, that wasn't really beneficial for me. So I'm like, okay, let's say 30% interesting, but not that interesting. I might better go through Google and check, and probably Google will give me better results, right?
Excuse me,
So,
this Karthik Jahangir, can you mute yourself? I am trying to mute you and you are unmuting. Do you have to ask anything?
excuse me?
वो सामान लेके आप लोग बस कौन सी है
There are people, they are unmuting themselves, so I do not know what they are doing. You carry on, please. Sorry, inconvenience.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So once now I know where to find my participant, and I know that ChatGPT could be quite deceiving sometimes. That's fine, that's okay. We all have limits. So I'm moving to the other part, which is the sampling. I mean, most of the time, whenever we have to write an article, we need to talk about the type of the
सारे
sampling.
अभी आपकी 3 सवारी आ रही है
Okay,
Kindly
can I
just give me 1 minute. I am removing him from this. He is really disturbing us. So we do not
Yes,
make
Dr.
it like
Feroz,
that.
kindly remove him. Actually, he's creating a disturbance.
He is doing it, deliberately. Please carry on.
Okay. So as I was saying, so once we know our participant, we need to write within the article what are the sampling technique or approach. And sometimes it feels like Chinese for me. I'm exhausted. I don't know what to write. I don't want to go through, I mean, the methodology books and keep looking what type of sampling is that. So again, I'll ask ChatGPT to make my life a bit easier. And I'll ask it, what are the different type of sampling? Just tell me, okay, what are the different type of sampling? And then it will give you different type of sampling: simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, and every time it tells you what is that exactly, right? And why this method is important and what it ensures. So this is very interesting. Convenience sampling, purposive or judgmental sampling, snowball sampling, coda sampling, etc., multi-stage and adaptive sampling. So it gives you all the different type of sampling, and it also tells you what are these type of samplings about. Is it clear for me? I don't think so. I need some examples. I mean, for me, it's still somehow a bit Chinese. I want some real example for me in order for me to really understand what I'm doing. So I asked ChatGPT, for example, can you give me an example of research for each type of sampling? I want to know these type of sampling will be used in which type of research exactly, right? And then ChatGPT will give you that. So for simple random sampling, it gives you a research scenario for each and every one so that you understand why this sample is the most appropriate or how this sampling type function. Yeah, so it gives you all of them as I explained before. So now I know what are the different type of sampling. I can even ask ChatGPT. I can give him my hypothesis, my research design, and I can ask him what type of sampling should I use, and then again ChatGPT will be helping you understanding what type of sampling would be the most appropriate, right? Now I have all different elements. I have everything in front of me that will help me to literally do my work. But sometimes we face that, guys, and we need to admit it. We are overwhelmed with time. We are overwhelmed with tasks. We have a lot of other tasks to do, right? Sometimes we're teaching, sometimes we're working, sometimes we have also family duties to abide by sometimes. So managing our time and finding time to finish the article according to the deadline could be sometimes a bit hectic, right? So I'm asking you in ChatGPT, how would I effectively manage my time? Just help me out, right? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, I need to do research that has as a hypothesis. No. I write here my hypothesis. This research needs to be finished in 4 months. Can you suggest an appropriate time management plan? So as you can see here, I chose 4 months. You can choose 3, you can choose 12, you can choose whatever your timeline is, right? And can you suggest an appropriate time management plan? And ChatGPT will do so. So it will guide you week by week on what you have to do. It will give you a very clear idea about the must to do steps in order for you to really respect those deadlines, right? And as you can see, it's very detailed. It gives you all the different information, and it even gives you time, if you can see here, for drafting the research report, and revision and finalization, right? So it gives time for everything, and it helps you following up and have some sort of a clear idea where you're going and if you are actually progressing the way it should be or not. And finally, it gives you submission and presentation, final touches, etc. So, okay, I'm done. I know I have some sort of a timetable. Everything is ready. I can write an article. Everything's fine. I'm very happy. But I know that most of the time, once we finish writing an article, we start looking at where we can publish it. But what if ChatGPT can already help me and inform me on what are the different journals, Scopus index journals, for example, that would be somehow hypothetically interested by my research. So instead of me finishing my research and then starting looking for a journal where to publish, why don't I already have some journals ready in my mind, and then I'll be able to look at their scope. I'll be able to look at the format they're using so that I can start writing my articles according to that, right? So that would maximize the possibility for me to get published by that article later, by that journal later, sorry. So I'm gonna just again ask ChatGPT whether it can help me in that or not. So can you suggest scientific Scopus index journals that can be interested in publishing my research about nomophobia and sleep disturbances, right? So I chose nomophobia and sleep disturbances. This is my topic. So I want to find scientific Scopus index journals that would go within that scope, right? And then ChatGPT here will give you different possibilities. So we have computer and human behavior, we have cyber psychology, behavior, and social networking, Journal of Sleep Research, Journal of Medical Internet Research, Sleep Medicine. And in case you might think, oh, ChatGPT could be probably hallucinating again, don't worry, it is not. I took the specific title of the journal here, I put it on Google, and I get to the website. These are real Scopus index journal. But I'll tell you something, don't take it for granted, right? Even if ChatGPT suggests some specific journal, don't take it for granted, copy paste it, look on the website. If it's in there and everything is in place, then that's perfect. You just record that specific website, and then you look at whatever formatting or requirement it is in there. And if it's obsolete, or sometimes also it might be that the journal is no longer Scopus indexed, right? So you need just to make sure that this is the case. That's it. But when I had a look at all the different here suggestions that ChatGPT gave me, actually it worked perfectly, and it was really, really fit to what I wanted to go through. And then it kept giving you a lot of articles, and you can keep asking ChatGPT as much journal titles as you want. Yeah. So I think we covered all of it as of now. So we found an interesting topic. We wrote hypothesis. We know how to conduct literature review. We had a look at different, let's say, tools that can help us collecting information. We know what are the research method, the ethical consideration, data collection. We know whether we want to go for qualitative or quantitative. We know how to where to find participants, different type of sampling. How can I manage my time? Where to publish my article. I think it was a very successful research, right? So I would invite every one of you to follow the same somehow steps that I've done. You might come up with something completely new and you might want to share it with me. I would love to hear from you. But then if you go through it, just dedicate 1 hour and go through all of these different steps for one topic. And I can assure you that by the end of all these different steps, you will already have your article preset. Everything is in place. You just need to start, right? So my question is, are you ready to start? I hope yes. And I hope that this presentation today, sharing whatever I found going through ChatGPT, I hope that these information were beneficial for you. I hope that it triggers your curiosity a bit, and I hope it helped you somehow not banalizing, but de-dramatizing the idea of going through research and made it a little bit more easy and funny for everyone. Thank you very much, and I'm open to any question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your enlightened session. Now we will take some couple of the questions. I request the participants to have questions or the queries. Please raise your hands or open your mic. You can even write the questions in the chat box as well, if you have any. I think there are no questions. It seems that the participants have completely understand the AI applications in research.
I have a question.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, yes, please.
Am I
yes.
audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jihene, for your wonderful presentation on AI. I just have a query. How can we differentiate between the original research and the research done through ChatGPT?
Okay, so that's another story. Okay, so again, when I'm telling you here, I mean, all the different steps that I was sharing with you, as you could all realize, is not inviting ChatGPT to write an article for you, right? It was just looking for some help and some assistance so that you know what to write and how to write and what kind of methodology you should use. Okay, so of course we are avoiding and we are against totally submitting a research through ChatGPT and let ChatGPT writing for you. Not that ChatGPT cannot do it. I think at a certain level it can. But this is again now the problem of journals. Now journals have some specific tools and some specific apps that will help them check whether it is AI generated or not. And I know that there are 2 or 3 actually journal that have been submitted that were completely wrote by ChatGPT and that have been that have been published, but then they realized afterward because the application were not there, so they were checking afterward and they realized that it was totally written by ChatGPT and they discarded, right? So of course this is unethical and this is not how a researcher should act, right? So we should avoid doing that as much as possible. And nowadays I think every geek, I would say, or every AI interested person is looking on developing these apps that would help actually make the difference between an authentic article and an article that is written by AI. And I hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
I'm having a question. What are the other AI methodology which we can adapt?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well.
Yes, ma'am. What are the other AI tools which are beneficial for the researchers?
I mean, you can look at all the different tools. There is Elicit, as I said, there is BART. These are the ones that I have used, I have looked at, but I think there are plenty. I mean, if you just Google it and type AI tool, it will give you different tools, but it depends on your scope. What do you want? There are tools that will be able to generate, for example, Gamma, to generate PowerPoint presentation. There are tools that will be able to generate pictures, right? That will help you to draw, for example, for interior design or for animation. There are tools that will help you to go through research as Elicit, as ChatGPT. So there are different tools that you can have a look at, BART also. But honestly, I've tried BART, I've tried Elicit, I've tried ChatGPT, and I feel like I feel like happier with ChatGPT. I feel like it really answers my needs, right? But again, it depends on what are your needs. And depending on that, my advice is to keep exploring and check. For example, for Gamma, that is supposed to produce PowerPoint presentation, at the beginning, I thought it's a good idea. That's an amazing AI. As a professor, I would like to have my PowerPoint ready, right? I just want to write down whatever topic I'd like to do a course about. And then the idea of an AI giving me all the different slides written, well presented was just amazing. Oh, I love it. But then I realized after using it that it wasn't what I was expecting, right? The information that were in there were very general, nothing really specific, nothing really that would speak to the student, that comes from an experiment, that comes from practical experience, that comes from theoretical background. So it was very superficial. So I didn't like it. So I discarded. I'm not using it anymore. So I think that the best thing that I would encourage you to do is that to keep exploring all the different tools and pick the one that suits you the most, that fits with your needs.
There's
Thank
one
you,
question in chat box from Dimple Julia. Says that my research topic is study of big four accounting firms in India for AI use. In this, how I conduct interview with auditors and have to get permission from the respondents before registering of topic, whether they are comfortable to give interview or not, like that.
So you, I'm sorry if I understand you right. So you want to do qualitative analysis here, right? So you want to sit with people and do interview with them, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I think here, first of all, you need to know who are the person that you would like to talk to. You need to prepare the informed consent, as I said, and they have to sign the informed consent. And within the informed consent should be all the different informations along with the question that you would be asking them. So once your informed consent is ready, you can approach people, I mean, through whatever medium, it doesn't matter, right? It might be you going to a specific institution and asking to speak, for example, to employee or to participant. It might be you contacting them through LinkedIn, through social media account. It's okay. You can send them messages and tell them, I am, for example, doing a research about this and that, and I would like to invite you to participate in this and that. And then you send the consent form. Once they agree, once they tell you, oh, that's interesting, we would like to talk about it, then you send them the informed consent. And once they sign it and everything is clear, once they understand what they want to go through, then you can arrange sometimes a face-to-face meeting. Or if it's not face-to-face because they're far away or they're, for example, outside country, you can organize a Zoom meeting or Google, how do we call it? Like a Google Meet video or whatever, right? And you can also ask permission to record the session, right? And just if the participant is comfortable with that. If not, then you don't do that, of course. And you make sure that the informed consent is signed and that everything is fine. And I think you'll be able to proceed for your research. There is no any problem. And make sure that there is an ethical board that accepts and agree on the research design that you're engaging yourself into.
There's another question from Nisha Khan. Is there any chance of getting high plagiarism while using these AI tools in research?
Of course, if you copy paste from ChatGPT, of course, there will be high plagiarism, of course, right? But, and you know that in Turnitin or in some other tools now, they are even having some sort of AI plagiarism. Okay, so to which extent that is accurate, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, because there have been a lot of other tools and measurement like Chat Zero or something like that have been shown very inconsistent and not really reliable, whether actually it was identifying some text written by human as written by AI and some text written by AI as written by human. So it wasn't really that accurate, but that was, I think, 1 year ago. So I think by now they have developed some other tools that are much more efficient when it comes to detecting plagiarism, AI plagiarism. So for example, at university, we use Turnitin, and Turnitin has developed some sort of an AI detection factor in its plagiarism detection, and it showed to which extent you have AI in your research. So in order to avoid that, as I told you, always use AI as a guide. Okay, all the different information that, for example, that I shared with you today, all the different answers that ChatGPT has given me, I am not going to implement them just as it is. I'm not going to copy paste them as it is. I'm going to paraphrase. You are going to do exactly the same thing as if you're doing a normal research, right? Usually when you do a normal research, you go through whatever material online, and then you read it, you understand it, and you phrase it in your own words. So if you do exactly the same thing, then there is no any issue, right? There is no plagiarism because you've read the material, but then you've used your own words to explain it and to write it, and then it's your property now.
So we'll take last question now since we are running out of the time. Professor Jaskaran Singh has raised his hands. Professor Singh, can you please?
Yes.
Yes, first of all, Professor, your presentation is very interesting. In fact,
Thank
it
you.
provokes us to get into the hand-on practice and to do some help from this ChatGPT. And the thing that is my question is different. Like Professor Chomsky has criticized the use of AI. I think the most, if I think the most ruthlessly, the person who has criticized the ChatGPT, and he's saying that ChatGPT or AI is distorting morality, cognition, rationale in a research and academic. And the last thing that is, do you not think like when things are getting easier, it is also distorting the quest for knowledge. Like if the things are easily available for us, and then sometimes when we dive into the ocean of knowledge to know something, but when the things are easily available for us, if like the researchers who are in their like initial stage of research, and we have some the things which are easily available, like even the design for research, if it is being provided by the AI, then what we are expecting from the researcher that they can develop by using their own cognition, their own rationale, or their research mind. If you would like to evaluate what you have presented today, I just want your comments on this also. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. I really like the question. So, okay, I'm gonna answer step by step. So first of all, I'll answer the last question first, or the first one. Okay, never mind. So when it comes to AI and to which extent AI could be bad for our cognitive development, I would say that it depends on how we use it. Okay, it's exactly as the internet. I mean, many people are like, oh, internet is bad. Internet is bringing a lot of bad things to people, and it's opened up the eyes of younger to very bad things that are not from our culture, that are denaturing or changing the way people are or think. But also internet comes with a lot of benefit, right? So it depends on how you use it, and it depends on when you use it. If, for example, a student is just developing his capacities, he's just starting to understand what is methodology, and he's not making any effort into knowing how to properly use the different methodological aspect, then I would say yes, then AI is not helping because it makes things very, very much easier. But when it comes to us professors, I think that it depends on how much we rely on it. If we just use it because, I don't have time, because I have to come up with some idea, I don't have someone to brainstorm with, and I would like to just have a quick idea about what I want to do research about, and I want to make things, the practical things or the different steps clear for me, then the rest will be managed differently. If it comes to that, then it makes my life just easier. And here, I'd like to say something fun, but then I'll answer your question. I think also it's related to which extent we are masochists, right? We like to suffer in order to find something. And we've been told since we were kids that there's no benefit without suffering. So we feel like it's somehow within our core belief, we need to suffer. So I do agree that when we delve within the research, when we start looking at different articles, how can I say, it builds some sort of a brain connection that is completely different from where I'm just looking at the machine, asking the machine, and the machine is giving me the answer right away. So yes, indeed, it will definitely impact the quality of my research article, right? If I just follow the machine, if I just follow what the machine is telling me, then when it comes to the discussion part, because this is, I think, the core of every research article. It's the topic, it's the originality of the topic, is the methodology I'm using, but I think the most important part of every article is the discussion, where actually I will put my information, my knowledge, my perspective, and I'll cross these with different authors' finding, and I'll come up with a recommendation, I'll come up with some suggestion. This is what is very, very important. This is, I would say, the creamy part of the article. So if I've done enough reading, if I've expanded my capacity to understand different point of view, if I've read enough, if I've made enough effort in my article, that would reflect in that part. But if I'm just taking it as it is from an AI, then it might at the end look like very superficial, not really interesting, very copy paste, nothing to add on, and that of course would reflect on the quality of the article. So I think there is always a way for us to do things in a different manner. It's our decision. This is how we want our work to be. Yes, AI can help me make my life easier, but it should never replace me. It should never replace my perspective, my idea, my approach, because this is what would make my research different from someone else's research. Otherwise, it will always be copy-paste research, and it won't be interesting. So diversity is very important. And I think as a researcher, we need to make sure that this is a core element that should always be there. And I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Dr. Jihene, for your enlightening session, your insights on finding interesting research topics and where to publish our research were incredibly valuable, I can say. The practical tips and the personal experiences you shared made the session both engaging and inspiring. Your AI application to research productivity has provided us with a new perspective and tools to enhance our own academic journeys. We deeply appreciate your time and efforts in sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Over
very
to you,
much.
Dr.
The pleasure
Firdaus.
was mine.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Jihene. On behalf of J&K Economic Association, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to your insight on AI and research productivity. Actually, I have myself learned a lot about, I was using AI sometimes for professional use and quite sometimes for, non-professional. But I have learned today, the comprehensive detail that your expertise and patience has shown us that how we can, use the available knowledge and how we can, try to, it has actually inspired us deeper into the subject of AI and research. There are although, questions about rationality and questions about plagiarism and ethics, but the way you have, suggested, how to deal with and how to get benefited during the tough times, how to use it professionally, how to act as a professor, while you were, showing the search engine of about qualitative and quantitative research. And I hope that your dedication to empowering us as a participants with such a, cutting edge information is truly commendable. We are, immensely grateful for your time, effort, and the expertise in enlightening us, on such a great topic, a trending topic, I can say. So thanks once again, Professor Jihene, for your enriching session. We look forward for more such enlightening, discussions in future and more such collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Firdaus. Thank you very much, Mr. Owais. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And I'd like to say just something. Please try it. Try ChatGPT. Be curious, explore, and feel free to share with me, because I think this is how knowledge construct, and this is how we all get benefit, and how we construct expertise by sharing common knowledge. So please don't hesitate to tell me if something pops in, if you found something more interesting, and let's continue that debate about AI and how we can use it, because I think that's a very trending and important topic that we definitely have to look at. Thank you very much again for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you once again. So now we are going to, shift towards, next session. So we will take, half a minute, then we are going to start.